When it comes to where the greatest writers on the planet reside, look no further than hip hop. If you don't believe me, there are a total of 15 rappers who have a wider vocabulary span than William Shakespeare. Now, understanding that more rappers every day are shattering the guy who's known for writing records, you can see how important the art of lyricism truly is in rap music. For 50 years, being able to create rhymes in a sensible pattern has been the driving force of everything in hip hop, and even in an era where today some things sound like this. Albums that are lyrically driven are still at the center of the culture. With 2022 coming to a close, we're going to be counting down the top 25 lyricists in the world. Now, before we get into this list, be sure to understand that the selections are only based off of rappers' works in the year of 2022, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Kicking off the list, we have Vince Staples, but before we go any further, let me go into how I created the criteria for this list. Now, since every MC has such a unique lyrical style, I created a system that breaks down the core pillars of the lyrical arts so we can dissect these MC's skills in each category. The average of all the categories determine the placement of the list, and at 25, we have ended up with the one, the only, Vince Staples. Now, Vince Staples is not exceptional in any category, but he's super well-rounded when it comes to his vocabulary choice, the creative use of his lyrics, his intricate rhyme patterns, and his biggest strength of them all, which is how he uses these skills to tell a story. All of these gifts shined on the California rapper's latest LP, Ramona Park Broke My Heart, and through the conceptual workings of this album, having Vince look back on both the good and bad memories of the area he was brought up in, all of these attributes create a vivid picture of the stories that defined his entire life. If you wanted to see where Vince Staples' best lyrical performance of the year is, it is without a doubt the song When Sparks Fly, which may be his best storytelling song ever. Coming in at number 24, we have the Chicago poet, Open Mike Eagle. As the 42-year-old rapper continues to age, Open Mike Eagle's lyrical prowess only seems to become stronger as his latest record, Component System with the Auto Reverse, featured some of his most intricate and crafty wordplay yet. Searching through his lost soul, the gloomy bars Mike delivers on this album feel like gray clouds, but there's something so healing about the clever ways he finds to address his pain. When it comes to his best lyrical performance, it has to be his tribute track For Doom, which he really went all out for to honor everything that the late great MF Doom stood for. Moving on to number 23, we have Logic, who rapped like he was handing out mixtapes on the street on his album Vinyl Days. I mean, this should be no surprise to anybody who listened to Vinyl Days, as the whole point of the record was just to give us a sample-heavy boom-bap album dominated with Logic's most creative rhyme schemes and out-of-the-box one-liners, but he really outdid himself here, giving one of the hungriest performances of his entire career. Out of all of the lyrical highlights and gems that Logic gave us in 2022, the song that best displays his master craft is Tetris, which is probably the rowdiest and most commanding lyrical storm that the Maryland rapper has ever caused. At the number 22 spot, we have an OG who's been in the game since the 2000s, Lloyd Banks. Now, between features he's hopped on and his Course of the Inevitable 2 project, Lloyd Banks proved that he is timeless with his stone-cold bars that are written with the most aggression you could ever possibly put into words. When it comes to Lloyd's skills, he's well-rounded in every single one of the lyrical arts, and all of his skills culminate together best on the track Dead Roses, which is one of the hardest songs you will hear all year. Next up at number 21, we got Little Simps, whose words create some of the most vivid imagery and captivating storytelling that hip-hop's had to offer this year. While Simps' entire latest album, No Thank You, features amazing lyrical passages dominated with her hinged rhyme schemes and elusive wordplay, the best lyrical performance in my eyes has to be on the song Gorilla. Cracking the top 20, we have the one, the only, Currency, who continues to prove year in and year out that he is one of the greatest wordsmiths of the century with a new batch of songs filled with his jagged lyrical craftsmanship. From Continuance with The Alchemist to Drive-In Theater Part 2, the Louisiana MC gave us a masterclass in lyrical consistency, as he didn't just show off his crafty word choices, unorthodox rhyme schemes, and wordplay that makes you make this face, but he also grew in certain capacities, especially when it came to his abilities as a storyteller. Well, I'm sure if you asked 50 different people this question, you would get 50 different answers. Currency's best lyrical performance this year can be found on the track Umbrella. At number 19, we have the one, the only, Freddie Frozone, Freddie Gibbs, and continuing the trend we have seen on 2019's Bandana and 2020's Alfredo, Gibbs has once again leveled up in terms of lyrical skill on his latest album, Soul Sold Separately. I mean, aside from the moments where he's watering himself down in terms of his writing to create mindless bangers with Moneybagg Yo and Offset, Gibbs pushed himself forward as a writer in every way he possibly could. His rhyme schemes have become even more complex, and his wordplay is just as raunchy as ever. Where Gibbs really elevated the most was with his storytelling ability, as he really became a legit storyteller who could weave a lyrical narrative through multiple verses on a magnitude of Soul Sold Separately's tracks. Out of all the moments which show Gibbs' lyrical evolution, the prime example of his growth is hands down Grandma's Stove. At number 18, we have Griselda's very own Benny the Butcher. While I think in terms of both the music he released and the lyrical performances he's had, Benny did take a little bit of a step down when compared to his past few years in the rap game, he still remains above the rest of the competition with an array of standout performances on features like Conway's John Woo Flick and on his own Tana Talk 4 album, of course. From his punchlines to rhyme schemes, Benny is one of the very best in hip-hop, and a track that displays these skills at their peak is really one of his career-defining performances on the J. Cole collaboration, Johnny P's Caddy. At number 17, we have UK rapper Loyal Carner, who reached his lyrical prime on his album Hugo. From his intuitive rhyme schemes to his ability to play with words, Carner's proved to be a really elite MC, and beyond these skills, he gets this high up on the list due to his breathtaking storytelling ability, which features some of the most well-thought-out uses of lyrical narrative in quite some time. What best highlights Loyal's lyricism is the track Georgetown. Definitely do not sleep on this dude. He had a great year. At number 16, we have another rapper who reached his lyrical peak this year, Denzel Curry. Now, on the Florida Native's latest album, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, he really blew us away with how good of a lyricist he's become. His punchlines, word choice, and rhyme schemes became so well thought out that it took months of listening to truly comprehend how sharp Zell's pen has become. And with his storytelling binding each track together, it is no doubt why Zell is this high up on the list. Now, while different lyrical attributes for Denzel shine through on different tracks on this album, the one which highlights the best of his abilities to the fullest has gotta be Walkin'. Coming in at number 15, we have Boldy James, who continues to remain amongst rap's lyrical elites, releasing 4 entire albums this year. From Boldy's drug-ridden vocabulary range to the crafty wordplay he uses to keep this topical scope refreshing, the Detroit MC continues to expand his lyrical universe with his one-of-a-kind style that masters the art of wordplay and ominous lyrical narration. Out of all the songs on all of the albums he's released, which there are a lot, and I'm sure you will get different answers from a lot of people, Straight and Tall best displays this coarse and technical ability that makes him so special. Cracking the top 14, we have one of New York's finest, Joey Badass, who after a 5-year hiatus from releasing any solo albums, he returned to hip-hop with refined lyrical tenacity, and this made his record 2000 the great project that it is. From Badass's extensive rhyme schemes which allow him to highlight the nuance in multiple words, to his wordplay which continues to both wow and incite thought into listeners, he continues to show us why he is one of the rawest spitters in hip-hop right now. While there are a ton of lyrical standout performances on 2000 and on some of the features he's done this year, and all of the moments that blew us away from Joey, his lyrical graces are at their peak on the track Head High. Coming in at number 13, we have another New York legend, the one, the only Roc Marciano, who just continues to amaze and entertain with his unique lyrical style. At this point into his career, Roc is sticking to his same formula lyrically, and it is perfect. He does not need to change it. His tight-knit rhyme schemes and one-of-a-kind wordplay are just mere perfection, and there is no other way to say this. As long as Roc keeps releasing music, he will always be on these lists. You cannot miss him. Serving at the pinnacle of Roc's lyrical mastery this year, the self-titled track, The Elephant Man's Bones, shows you everything you need to know and every reason why Roc Marciano is not just one of the greatest lyricists on the planet right now, but he is one of the greatest lyricists of all time. At number 12, we have Billy Woods, who's continued to solidify himself as one of the greatest lyrical architects ever, with breathtaking performances on albums like Ethiops and Church. Billy Woods' grim lyrical style is so well defined through his eerie word choice and dark storytelling, and this haunting demeanor makes him one of the most unique lyricists out right now, and the verses that best showcase this can be found on the track Remorseless off Ethiops. Just right outside of the top 10, we have the legendary Talib Kweli, who's not just one of the best lyricists out right now, but through his near 25-year career, his pen game has managed to get even sharper over time. This guy is aging like wine. Through Black Star's No Fear of Time album to various features and singles that he's been a part of, Talib's pen game has gotten even more precise as he's created some of his most intuitive rhyme schemes and hardest hitting punchlines to date. Out of all of the songs that Talib appeared on, his best lyrical performance can be found on the track So Be It off Black Star's No Fear of Time. Entering the top 10, we have Griselda's Conway The Machine. From features on tracks with fellow Griselda members, What Has Been Blessed Cannot Be Cursed with Big Ghost LTD, and of course, his magnum opus God Don't Make Mistakes, Conway has had a career year that's pushed him forward in many ways, and especially as a lyricist. While Conway's wordplay and punchlines continue to stand out as his signature trademark, his storytelling ability blossomed in new ways as his lyrical narrations allowed for us to understand his life in ways we have never prior to this. Conway truly showed us a major artistic leap, and the track that we can see this best on is the song Stressed. Conway really did have an MVP season, and his pen game is at the heart of it. Moving into number 9, we have Earl Sweatshirt, who continued to prove why he is one of the modern era's defining poets on his 4th album, Sick. While Earl reduced the depth of his storytelling so he could experiment with new styles and have a little more fun beyond the mic, his technical sharpness did not get compromised whatsoever. While Sick has many beautiful lyrical passages, the track 2010 stands a little higher than the rest as it truly shows Earl at the master point of his technical ability. Earl Sweatshirt, man, he is a gem and he is a treasure to this world, and he is really one of the best lyricists out right now. Coming in at number 8, we have Absol, who returned to the limelight for the first time since 2016 with his latest studio album, Herbert. From Soul's personally driven storytelling to his complex rhyme schemes and near genius level of vocab choice and wordplay, Soul has truly once again proven that he is a lyrical mastermind, and it is amazing to see that after hiding for so long, 6 years, he's still as technically proficient as ever. Now, out of the 18 new tracks that Soul blessed us with this year, his best lyrical performance has to be on the track Moon Shooter. Shout out to Absol. He is another true gem of our time. Now, cracking the top 7, we are really in elite territory. And at number 7, we have the legendary Nas, who's had one of his all-time great years with the release of King's Disease 3. Now, even after 30 summers in the rap game, Nas is still able to tell clear and powerful stories, go on intense lyrical tangents, and hit us with one-liners that we will never forget. And the longevity that Nas has shown is crazy. And the best lyrical performance he delivered this year can be found on the track Sun, which this guy is still calling out Jay-Z. It's just ridiculous how hungry Nas still is, how sharp his pen game still is, and I wouldn't be surprised if we find him higher on these lists in the future, because that is how good he is. He is still getting better somehow. It makes no sense. Right outside of the top 5, we have another legendary New York rapper, Yasin B, who did not miss on a single verse this year between Black Star's No Fear of Time album and also featuring on songs with Westside Gunn and JID, where he delivered some of the best verses on those respective albums, and that says a lot. Bay's rhyme schemes are some of the most genius and well thought out in all of hip-hop, and his narration is just incredible. His ability to morph around words and put them in whatever way he desires just make him appear as a true lyrical immortal. We are so lucky that we got this much new material from Yasin this year, and his best lyrical performance has to be on the track Stars off the Forever Story. Cracking the top 5, we have the genius Kendrick Lamar. Now, there are really not a lot of ways left to praise Kendrick that haven't been said, but when it comes to the lyrical performances that he gave us through his long-awaited album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he's continued to define himself as one of our time's greatest writers. Kendrick's lyrical thought process is so calculated and precise, and this made the darkest of stories hit us right in the gut. While Lamar's attention to narrative detail and lyrical direction is nothing new, the rhyme schemes he brought to this album were so bold and out of the ordinary, and this was a risk that truly paid off. While Kendrick is not number one on this list, he is easily, without a doubt, the best storyteller in hip hop right now, and the song that encapsulates his lyrical genius most is The Heart Part 5. At the number 4 spot, we have Pusha T. Now listen, we're not going to overcomplicate this. We all know what makes Pusha T so good. He is a master at just talking about coke, talking about drug bars, and making it so exciting. Each verse he spits hits us with playful banter and groundbreaking lyrical presentation, and he has just gotten us addicted on it. It is genius. Now, the song that best showcases Push in all of his lyrical greatness has got to be his lead single of the year, Diet Coke. Entering the top 3 on this list, we have the youngest rapper in terms of experience in the rap game, JID. Now, Jid has proven himself to be a lyrical mastermind this year, dominating in all pillars of what defines lyricism as a whole. Jid is truly an anomaly. His word choice is profound. He's delivering some of the most banterous and in-your-face lyrical commentary out right now. He's truly reinventing how creative rhyme schemes can be, and from his fantastic feature run to the Forever Story, he's proven himself to be the best storyteller out of any new rapper in quite some time. JID is a modern lyrical genius, and the moment that best defines him in all of his glory is Crack Sandwich. JID would be even higher on this list if it wasn't for our number 2 spot, Black Thought. Now, having Black Thought this high on a list should not be any surprise to anyone at this point. Even 29 years after releasing his debut album with The Roots, Thought's lyrical sword has continued to stay sharper than ever with a technical skill set that will just melt your ears off. It is that good. His collaboration album with Danger Mouse, Cheat Codes, is a masterclass on the lyrical arts, and out of all of the gems he drops here, Black Thought's best lyrical performance can be found on the track Saltwater. Finally, taking the crown as the best lyricist of 2022 and the best writer in the world, we have Lupe Fiasco, who is just levels above and beyond the rest of the competition. Lupe Fiasco is the embodiment of not just mastering a skill, but redefining that skill as a whole. Everything he said on his album Drill Music in Zion doesn't just have 1 or 2, but sometimes even 3 meanings, and this allows for his music to move in ways that creates and fleshes out multiple running narratives at once. I mean, what the fuck type of lyrical jujitsu shit is that? They don't call him Carrerlu for nothing. The amount of depth that goes into writing like this is just surreal, and for the precision that Lupe brings to the mic throughout the entirety of Drill Music in Zion, and on the only other song he released in 2022, which is Pumpkin Seeds, which teamed him up with another lyrical mastermind in Aesop Rock, the legendary Chicago MC is hands down the best lyricist in the world right now. Thank you all for checking out this list. This took a lot of work, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment if you disagree with me, comment if you agree with me, and be sure to be ready for the end of the year content we have coming. We have a top 75 albums list dropping very soon, and we will also be dropping a top 100 songs of 2022 list. Thank you all for watching. I love you guys so much. Hope you guys are all doing great. Subscribe. Be sure to stay tuned. Fantastic Hip Hop, Mr. Fantastic, signing out. Have a great day.